Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Moore. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, it's almost the end of September. I don't know. Like these Wednesday night interviews always kind of get me thinking like, boy, the season's moving really fast because it feels like the week just started and here we are done with the midweek stuff. And then it feels like the season just started and the regular season's already a quarter of the way over and now about to take a trip that is not going to feel like, oh, wow, that was a quick one.
No, the trip to Seattle will feel like a quarter of the season in and of itself. Definitely looking forward to it. We hit the airport Thursday early evening, afternoon, yeah. and then we will leave in the evening. But definitely looking forward to getting out there. We have a ton of stuff planned for you guys, so make sure right now, off the bat, hit the bell to be notified. Subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. That way you won't miss what we've got for you. So as Tom said, we are just getting done with interviews on a Wednesday night. Before you know it, it's going to be like, I can't believe October is gone, Tom. But before we get to that point, just a quick update, health-wise, Lorenzo Styles Jr. left the game a week and a half ago, whatever it was, with perhaps a hand or an arm. He's good to go. He's practiced all week. Ryan Day said he's had really good practices, so no concerns there, which then allows the secondary to go into this Washington game with full health and not having to maybe not play people out of position because Jermaine Matthews has several positions, but they can go full strength and do whatever they want to do.
Right. You have the flexibility to do whatever you feel is the best for this particular matchup. And Ohio State has played three very different offenses so far. Grambling was just kind of a roll your helmets out there and you'll be fine. Ohio had some playmakers and, but very clearly the talent was not equated. Texas was a much closer talent level, but Texas does not have an Ohio State level wide receiver room. Washington doesn't have an Ohio State level wide receiver room either, but they do have a very big and talented wide receiver in Denzel Boston, who feels like job one in the pass defense is figure out where he is at all times and how you're going to defend him. Having Lorenzo Styles back means you have all your possible pieces, all your possible combinations to figure out how you want to go about attacking Washington's passing game.
And it means you've got your full dime package as well, and you don't have to go a little bit deeper in that one than you would want, because for the dime, they just bring in Devin Sanchez and remove somebody from the front seven. So that's really, I think at this point, the only health question.
Health-wise, that was really it for us. So, yeah.
It's a fortunate time for the Buckeyes. They still have, obviously, one more practice in Columbus before they head off to Seattle Thursday night, and then they'll have Best Fridays in football. But tomorrow is basically work week done, as they say, and then on the road. And I don't know that there was a bunch of stuff from Ryan Day. Talked about dealing with the crowd. They've been working on that. One of the things that Carson Hinsman said in conjunction with that is that this is an offensive line and frankly an offense that has played in a bunch of high-level games. So these are not new offensive linemen. So granted, these neutral site games are not the loudest, but they are high level. Every snap is huge. So that is a big thing. But also they have that experience. And then also they've been pumping in the noise for over a week. So they've been preparing for it.
Well, and all the guys on this line, with the exception of Phillip Daniels, were at Alton Stadium last year. They were at Beaver Stadium last year. Some of them were playing and some of them weren't, but you've been in the loud environment before. You've seen how people have to deal with it. They've gone on silent count before the Cotton Bowl, for example. I think they were on silent count at points in the Cotton Bowl because you're playing Texas in Texas. It's a neutral site, but also it's kind of not. So they've had to deal with some of that stuff already. And no disrespect to Washington, but the Texas defensive line last year is probably better than the Washington defensive line they're going to have to play this year. The Oregon defensive line from last year, probably better than the Washington defensive line they're going to have to play this year. So you've sort of seen high-level talent in this type of atmosphere. Is it maybe going to be a little louder? Sure. Does that maybe balance out the talent discrepancy? Maybe, but this is not brand new stuff. This is not a team that's played three terrible opponents and at home and now has to go on the road to play a really top 5 team in a crazy environment. This is a team that has played, the former number 1 team in the nation, has played a bunch of real quality teams last year. So this is going to be different, but not new.
and so then it comes down to how well Julian Sayin handles it, because he has not been on a road environment, let alone perhaps the loudest road environment. And really, it also depends on the opponent. So Ohio State's always got that covered in terms of, I wonder if the road crowd's going to be loud. Yes, they always will be. This is going to be the loudest place with the loudest team to cheer against. Ohio State travels like that, and everybody certainly, this is not Grambling coming in, and it's going to be like, boring noon game.
Yeah, this is the defending national champions and the number one team in the nation this year. This is the Super Bowl. Congratulations. It is coming to your stadium. You're going to be loud. You're going to be excited about it. Washington sold out the stadium. They have been very consistent with the arrive early, be loud messaging all week. I saw Washington fans talking about, yes, you can stomp your feet and yes, you can yell, but also the metal bleachers. Make sure you're slapping your hands on the metal bleachers to, create additional noise. And they have the roofs overhead, metal roof to reflect all the noise back down to the sideline. So
very tacky.
It is a stadium that is made to be loud, and it does its job.
I can't wait to get there. Love the open air press box. They have garage door types in the press box. Loved it at Oregon. You get to hear it all. You get to experience it all the time. You're down on the field. Doesn't matter to you.
No garage doors for me.
Nope. I like feeling it. And that was one of the things Carson Hinsman said. It's like, yes, you can feel it. It's like, standing in front of a speaker at a concert or whatever. He did say, at one point though, you tune it all out because you're focused and you're a professional, basically. You tune it all out, and he's like, and besides, you can't hear anything anyway. It's like, it's too noisy to even hear it, Tom.
Well, I think Sonny Styles talked about that as well, where during practice, they've been practicing with the noise up so much that you just your brain sort of filters it out. It's like living under the flight path through an airport or living down the street from a fire station. At some point,
railroad tracks.
Yeah. What fire truck? Was it okay? I guess, your brain just sort of filters it out. And at some point, that is kind of probably true. Your brain can just sort of, like, it's noise-canceling headphones almost. And so it's going to have an impact. It's going to have an impact early. Ohio State has the opportunity to make it really not have an impact. You jump up 21-0 in the first half, like, congratulations. The crowd is probably not going to be quite as enthusiastic. So, Ohio State is going to have something to say about how long the crowd is going to be potentially loud.
I am fascinated to see how many Ohio State fans are there. Whenever Ohio State goes on the road, you're thinking, at least 30%, but that wasn't the case at Oregon because, at least as I don't recall, it was. Maybe it was.
No, there were a bunch of Ohio State fans at Oregon. And
this is like 65, 35.
The crowd estimates are always so unofficial, but Ohio State fans always travel well. You see more Ohio State fans at opposing games than you do opposing fans at Ohio State games, because Ohio State has a million fans everywhere and rather enthusiastic fans who will show up and go just about anywhere at any time. I'm expecting, I don't know, 10,000 Ohio State fans, 15,000 Ohio State fans in a stadium of 70,000. So, 20-ish, 15, 20%, something like that. Maybe it'll be more. I don't know. It's going to be all the Washington fans in purple. They've asked for a purple out. And then it'll, how many Ohio State fans are in red. I do think there's probably a little strategy there to purple and red are going to kind of blend together a little bit. So the Ohio State fans won't stick out as much as if it was, the Ohio State fans in a whiteout at Penn State, something like that.
Yeah, no, and it's looked like a big bruise all around the stadium. But there are a lot of Ohio State alums out in the Pacific Northwest. So this doesn't just have to be people traveling from Ohio to get there. Jeremiah Smith, we talked with him.
The question that I wanted to ask, someone beat me to it, but it was basically, Ryan Walters, former Purdue head coach, former Illinois DC, current Washington DC, plays a lot of man defense. He is known for playing a lot of man defense. And, what do you think about that? And he, Jeremiah just kind of gets this smile on his face, like, you know what I think about that. It was, you know what I think when I see man coverage, and what he's thinking is 6 points in 8 seconds. And this is going to be exciting for him, I'm sure. And I talked to Ross Fulton about this for an episode of the morning show that's going to go up on Thursday, talking about the Washington defense and how they're going to potentially play the Ohio State offense. But when Jeremiah is one-on-one, I think you're going to see them take some shots. If they can give Julian Sayin time, I think you're going to see shots downfield, whether it's to Jeremiah or if Washington tends to play a very, very deep safety. Similar, remember last year, Purdue, Dylan Thieneman, the safety for Purdue, who would, like, camera shot for the whole defense. You'd only see 10 guys in the field, and that was because Dylan Thieneman was basically in punt return coverage, more or less, as a safety. You're going to see that probably a lot out of Washington on Saturday. But he can only go to one side of the field. That safety can only pick one side of the field. So whichever side of the field he isn't on, whether it's Jeremiah Smith's side or Cardinal Tate's side or whoever else is over there, I think you're going to see some shots downfield. I think Jeremiah Smith, you get the sense that Jeremiah Smith is planning on that being part of the game plan on Saturday.
Yeah, and that safety this week will be Alex McLaughlin, the number 12 that you'll see out there, or won't see, depending on the angle. Because, again, he will line 15 yards off the ball, at least 20 yards, and then, either cover ground or come crash. They don't do that every time, but it does become noticeable. And
he had 2 interceptions last week against Washington State. So
yes, and one was a tipped, and one was like the receiver kind of fell down, and then he's like, "Oh, okay."
It hit a pick six on that,
and I'll take the pick six. But yes, he is very much looking forward to the man-to-man coverage. And he said, what's the key, Tom? Just win your one-on-ones. It's so simple. It's like all you got to do. Just
see, but it is easy for him. It's not as easy for other people, but for him, it's like, well, duh.
So this will be an interesting game to watch in terms of Julian Sayin and his eyes and how that directs the safety and the way that he wants or the way that he doesn't want. Because Julian Sayin's been doing some good things all season long, and I think this is going to be another step. This will be an opportunity for a step to show, like, now, look what else I can do in terms of manipulating a defense.
Well, and this is going to be the best defense they've played since Texas. I don't think this defense is incredible by any means, but they have some nice pieces on the defense. They have a pair of corners who are 6'4", which is kind of intriguing and different. And Jeremiah Smith talked about getting a good look from Davis Igbinosun, who's 6'2" or so. So he said he's been getting plenty of work with Davis Igbinosun this week to sort of prepare for that. But I think you're gonna see them try to just get as much as they can downfield, stretch things out. Because if they can run the ball, that's probably the end of the story. They may have to throw to open up the run a little bit, because if you're Washington, you might be trying to stop the run and try and make Julian Sayin prove. Julian Sayin has they won against Texas, but Julian Sayin did not have an incredible game against Texas. You haven't seen Julian Sayin have to do it on the road. You're going to see them, probably try and make Julian Sayin beat you. And, can he do it? Yeah, probably. But you kind of want to, you're going to make him show it rather than allowing Ohio State to just kind of run for 6 yards a carry.
Well, Tom, sometimes playing with fire is pretty fun. Let's admit it.
Going to get us a community strike.
So one of the last things that Jeremiah talked about was Julian Sayin, what you mentioned, just developing more as a leader over these 3 to now 4th game. And we have yet to see him rattled. This is going to be the best opportunity for that to happen. And rattled doesn't mean like, I'm actually literally rattling, but how do you operate within the noise when, when other players are struggling, how do you get everybody together? This isn't just about him struggling. It's also like if the offense is slow to progress and get downfield and to execute, what does he do to get them together? Because he's the quarterback. He's the leader. So that'll be interesting to watch. Ohio State does have a 6'4" corner on the team that they can also throw in the scout team in Jordan Woods.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But again, he's a true freshman. Let's go to the other side of the ball, because I want to talk about the scout team quarterback this week, which is Phillip Bell, one of the scout team quarterbacks. Yeah. Because, you want to, Phillip Bell being freshman wide receiver, you want to have that guy who is explosive, tough to defend, and to simulate DeMond Williams, who is all of that. Mm-hmm. And so I was wondering, because it's not going to be, no offense, it's not Mason Maggs or one of the other 3 or 4 walk-on quarterbacks. It's not Eli Brickhandler that is out there. Generally, they have done this before. They'll grab a receiver or a running back to simulate this. And I think, was it Caleb Downs that also mentioned Daquan Finn from Toledo? No, it was
Sonny Styles.
Sonny Styles, because David Downs wasn't here.
He was asked, Sonny Styles was asked, who does Washington's quarterback, Damon Williams, kind of remind you of among the guys you've played? And he said, not exactly, but just in terms of the athleticism and the elusiveness, Daquan Finn, who was at Toledo when Toledo played Ohio State in 2022, right? Yeah, 2022. So, that was a game where Ohio State really had their way with Toledo, but Daquan Finn was able to, despite being completely outmatched around the rest of the offense, was able to make some plays with his legs, make some, extend some plays and make some throws downfield. I thought that was an interesting comp. He went to Baylor last year, and it didn't go well.
No,
and he's back in the MAC. I think he's at Miami now?
I believe so.
He's back in the MAC for sure. But, in terms of the types of quarterbacks they've seen, they've faced quarterbacks who are mobile, maybe not quite as mobile. Arch Manning, you saw him make plays with his legs. You saw, I think, both of Graham Link's quarterbacks sort of try to extend plays with their legs and be able to kind of dodge the rush a little bit. You saw Parker Navarro against Ohio a couple weeks ago be able to do that to a certain degree. This is probably going to be sort of leveled up to the next, to probably a higher level of elusiveness. And you've seen Damon Williams be able to throw the ball downfield as well. So you do need the quarterback half of the scout team piece as well. Yeah.
I asked Caden Curry where he compares to the rest of the guys they've played, and understandably, he said he's the quickest and the most slippery, that is all accurate.
Yeah, you've seen him not only be able to avoid tackles and run for 20 yards, but also there's a guy coming clean right in the A-gap, and it's like, well, he is dead. And then all of a sudden, it's not that he's sprinting away. It's just it's like a little shuffle, and all of a sudden the guy just goes flying by, and then you're back in a clean pocket again.
So they'll be spying DeMond Williams, not constantly, but at times. I asked Sonny Styles, what's the key to spying well? He's like, well, one of the things is when the quarterback drifts back, like drops back into the pocket, you don't want to get closer to the line of scrimmage. You just want to stay where you are so that you can maintain the ability to get that angle. Then I asked him, so how do you think Arvell Reese has done as a spy? And he's like, he might be probably the best spy in America at this point. He said he's an elite spy, and I would agree with that as well.
Yeah, he's done a very good job with everything he's been asked to do. And he's been asked to do a lot of stuff. He'll be asked to spy and kind of mirror the quarterback and just sort of keep things in front of you and don't let them get past you. And he's done a really good job with that. He's done a really good job with disguising coverages. You've seen him coming off the edge. You've seen him coming up in the middle. You've seen him be very strong in the run game. He's been asked to do a lot of different things, sometimes very different things on back-to-back plays, and you've just been able to just handle it all and no problem.
I think we've even seen him start out on the edge and then drift to a spy. And like all of these things that quarterbacks like, okay, that's where Arvell Reese is. I know he's going to be coming from that angle.
Yeah.
Let me drop back. I better take off. What's he doing there? He was just over there, that sort of thing. And a lot of that also has to do with Caleb Downs talked about being able to, what does he like about this defense? It's like, well, I can go play here. I can play there. I can play in a bunch of positions.
If you hat, brooch, pterodactyl.
If you can handle it, it's fun and it's good. And he can obviously do all of that. Tom, were you over there? I think you were when DeMond Williams was described to him, where somebody said, well, he's kind of short, he's kind of little. What do you think about him? And, he's like, well, you said it, you described him. I mean, he's less than 5'11", so that means
he's 5'9".
Right.
Yeah.
But he is so much more than that. And this is it's going to be a big thing for Caleb Downs, for all of these Ohio State Buckeyes, to be aware of where he is, aware of where he is at the point of just like different times throughout the snap or the play, because like Sonny Styles said, in terms of his running ability, or Caleb Downs said it as well, like the longer the play goes on, you have to be aware that you might need to come off your man and go get him, because there's going to be a scramble, and whether you're in man, whether you're in zone, like you have to stay in your zone as long as you can before breaking to go get him, or else you could give up a play. So it's very difficult. That's why offensive coaches love quarterbacks that can run, and defensive coaches hate them.
Well, and you're talking there, and I think we talked earlier about the fact that Washington plays a ton of man. I wonder if DeMond Williams being as much of a runner and being a threat to run even 3 seconds after the snap, I wonder if that impacts the mix of zone and man that Ohio State plays. Because, of course, when you're playing man, you're turning your back to the quarterback and running with the receiver. If you're in zone, you kind of, you got your eyes on the quarterback. And, Matt Patricia, you're going to mix things up, obviously. Yep. But it would make sense to potentially, maybe you're playing a little more zone just to make sure you don't have your back turned and running the other direction when he may be running right towards you.
Yeah. Anything else today that you wanted to touch on?
I think that was the big stuff. Just thinking through, I think we've covered all the kind of notes that I had.
Yeah, all the pertinent stuff. So there you go. Like I said, we've got a lot more coming this week. Can't wait to get out there, finally check the Washington Stadium, the Husky Stadium off of the bucket list there. And we will have stuff pre-game, post-game. We still have our bold predictions that we have to do.
Yes.
No time we get to do.
Yes.
Also have to do. And then, as you guys know, when we're on the road, we're going to do as much stuff for you as we can. So if you could hit the thumbs up on this one, we would appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel, as I said, if you've not yet done so, and continue to find us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Sign up, become a member. Absolute best way to support what we do. So I thank you all. And Tom, we'll talk to you all later. I'm going to edit that part. I'm not going to edit it. We'll talk to you all later.